Parents gift sister a fancy car for her 21st baby and throw this huge B-Day bash, but claim to have no money when it's time to celebrate mine. I invited my whole family anyways, and boy, was it a shit show when everyone saw their blatant favoritism uncover. I turned 2 days ago and since then my life has been a mess. To start off, let me tell you that my mom, 46 female, and my dad, 48 male, prefer my older sister Riley, 21 female, over me. The problem was that I had a birthday celebration with my own money and it caused some issues with the extended family. My extended family, including my grandparents, aunts, and uncles, and cousins, all stay relatively close by. So we are sort of connected with each other all the time. In our family, every child who turns 18 gets a grand birthday celebration as a coming-of-age milestone in their life. My sister also had one and I had expected to have one too. However, my parents ended up telling me that they wouldn't be able to celebrate my birthday at all since they had spent all their money on organizing my sister's 20th birthday bash. She already had her grand 18th birthday party long back, but felt like she needed to one-up a cousin of ours who celebrated her 18th just a month before Riley's 20th birthday. She had been crying and whining about how our cousin's celebration was making her jealous and insecure, so she wanted another big party for her 20 just so she could feel better. In our household, Riley gets what she wants, so our parents went all out for her birthday and organized a fairly big event. I genuinely didn't care that my sister cried her way into having another lavish celebration for herself. However, I hadn't expected my parents to cancel my own birthday party to celebrate hers. A month ago, I approached them and asked them what they had planned for my birthday. I wanted to invite some friends to the event, so I needed to know all the details. My parents just nonchalantly told me that I wouldn't be getting a party at all. Their reasoning was that they had used up a lot of money for Riley's lavish birthday party. They hadn't been saving up for it, so they had to use whatever money they had set aside for my 18th birthday celebrations. So basically, my parents had prioritized my sister's birthday over mine. It wasn't very surprising because I think my parents would literally turn me into a sacrificial animal if it benefits my sister. I knew by then that getting mad at them, starting an argument won't do me any good. I tried to talk to them about their blatant favoritism hundreds of times before. I knew that nothing was going to come out of it, so I just ignored them and went to my room. I went home and went about my day as usual. I wasn't going to beg my parents to give me money for my birthday. I may not be a fully grown adult, but I did have a job. So when some of my cousins started to ask if I was doing anything for my birthday, I told them that I was. They were a little confused because my parents hadn't really reached out to the family with invites about the birthday party. Everyone had been expecting an invite since they wanted to celebrate this milestone with me. So I took matters into my own hands and invited everyone. I personally called them and told them to meet me at a local restaurant for my birthday. I was determined to throw a party for myself since my parents wouldn't. They did question me much about why my parents weren't the ones inviting them. I simply told them that I was the one in charge of the party and I was doing things my way. I knew that they would be disappointed to know that there wasn't going to be a big party. I will also admit that I was a little embarrassed because all of my cousins and my sister had this awesome lavish party while mine was going to be a simple cheap dinner at one of the restaurants nearby. Actually, I work at the restaurant as a waitress, so I had an employee discount that I used. I already had money saved up, so treating everyone to a decent meal wasn't an issue. My friends knew about the situation at home and graciously told me that I didn't have to take them out for dinner because they would be taking me out on dinner as a birthday gift. I may not have gotten the best parents, but I sure did have the best friends that I could ever get. Anyway, so I invited my whole family to this dinner that I had arranged all by myself. On my birthday, I was really looking forward to the family dinner because I knew it was the only celebration I was going to get with the family. Mom and Dad had been so busy that they had forgotten to wish me a happy birthday. Riley never bothered to wish me in the past, so I wasn't expecting her to wish me this year either. I got dressed and first went to the birthday lunch that my friends had organized and then to the family dinner that I had set up. The birthday lunch was a blast, and I think it tops whatever birthdays I have celebrated so far. My friends went all out and didn't make me feel like my 18th birthday wasn't a big milestone in my life. Honestly, I think their celebration took away whatever sadness and hurt that I had for not being able to have a big party like the rest of my cousins. I was also looking forward to the family dinner though. I know that the extended family loves me, so I was excited to celebrate the special day with them. Right off the bat I noticed that everyone at the table looked a little frazzled and confused. No one really said anything, but I could tell that they hadn't expected such a simple birthday party. Everyone tried their best to look happy and they showered me with a lot of affection, but I sort of felt bad that they had been disappointed. When the food started to come out, everyone started to look even more confused. My grandparents then asked where my parents had been and when they were going to show up, and I told them that they were not going to come. I think they could tell that I was getting uncomfortable. I won't lie, but their questions were making me super nervous and I felt like I was going to cry. The family probably noticed it and immediately diverted my attention so that I wouldn't have an emotional breakdown on my birthday. The rest of the birthday went really well and the family seemed to have enjoyed the food. There were some raised eyebrows when I paid the bill myself. All in all, I would say that it was a pretty good birthday. The real problem started the next day when my mom and dad burst into my room yelling at me about how I made them look bad in front of the family. I was really confused. I didn't know what was going on. Somehow I was able to make out through their rants that my grandparents and some family members had reached out to my parents and heavily berated them for not celebrating my birthday probably, and not even showing up to the one I had organized. My parents had been mad at me and said that I never should have told everyone about them not arranging my birthday party. They had been extremely mad at me and grounded me for disrespecting them in front of the family. My sister also dropped by my room to curse at me because the cousins were asking her why she hadn't attended my party, and why our parents didn't arrange anything for me when her 20th birthday party was better than all of their 18th birthday celebrations. I'm now being constantly berated by my entire family because I went blabbering about our family issues to other people. I'm also being called selfish and entitled because I complained to my grandparents about how my parents did nothing for my birthday and instead only concentrated on giving my sister what she wanted. Now the thing is, I never said anything to my grandparents or anyone in the extended family. Only my friends know about this. I had no intention or desire to make my parents feel bad. I did what I did because I really wanted to have a celebration with my family. I never told them what my parents said to me and whether or not they had wanted to throw a party for me. I also didn't give them any reason about why my parents hadn't shown up. I literally didn't mention my parents at all until someone asked me about them. The same goes for my sister. I didn't tell them anything. I seriously just wanted to have a little celebration with the extended family and that's it. But now my parents are giving me crap for making them look bad in front of everyone. I don't know what to think anymore. I talked to my friends about this and they think I didn't do anything wrong and don't deserve their anger. But my parents and sister are driving me crazy. I'm now stuck home and can't even see my friends outside of school. With the finals so near, I am sort of going crazy with the constant berating and tense atmosphere at home. The cousins who are closer to my age have been sending me texts and asking me questions about why my parents did what they did. I don't even have the courage to reply to them because I don't want to make my parents and sister angrier. Please help me with some advice on how to navigate this situation. I feel like I will burst from anxiety any moment now. Edit. So many of you have been messaging me and leaving comments for me. I'm unable to reply to all of you, so I made a little edit to add some details. Some of you have guessed it right that my sister is the golden child, and to be honest, I wasn't really familiar with this term until my friends and the people here pointed it out. I did some research and can confidently say that it matches the description of my sister. I frankly don't know why my parents are like this. I truly don't have an answer for those of you asking what I had done wrong or why my parents have been treating me in this way. All I know is that my parents have always preferred my sister over me in all senses. Also, I didn't intentionally leave my parents out of the guest list or downplay anything about who was going to be at the party. I had forgotten to mention that I had invited my parents and my sister, but I don't think they took me that seriously. My sister even made a comment about how she didn't eat at tacky places like the restaurant I had chosen. I know she said that because it isn't a bad restaurant by any means. I guess it was tacky in her eyes because I work there and it isn't really a 5-star restaurant. I don't think my parents fully understood or even bothered to listen to what I was telling them. They probably didn't think that I was going to invite and pay for the dinners of the entire family. My theory is that they thought I was going out with friends and didn't invite them to join us since they hadn't bothered to arrange anything for me. That's why they had been telling me that I should have explained the situation better to them. I really did though, but they rarely pay attention to me. Rarely listen to what I say to them. They had been informed at the birthday party, but they still don't show up. So it's not like I had intentionally excluded them or something. In fact, the sole reason why I invited them was to avoid people asking questions about why my parents weren't there. Despite what some of you may think, I wasn't trying to start trouble because my parents had prioritized my sister over me. I'm pretty used to being cast aside, so there is no reason for me to get mad and disappointed at them again. Update 1. I was putting off making this update because I have been extremely overwhelmed by the positive comments that kept pouring in. My friends always told me that my parents are not good parents and I should be more angry at them for their blatant favoritism. But I always thought that they were saying those things because they are my friends. To have all of you say the same things broke something inside me. I never thought that you guys would agree with my friends on my parents being crappy. I have grown up with this attitude that parents shouldn't be questioned. I have tried to voice out my feelings to them multiple times about how I felt neglected and cast aside for my sister. My parents always argued and yelled at me when I did. I was called ungrateful, selfish, entitled for trying to say that my parents weren't doing enough for me. By the time I turned 14, I sort of knew that they probably didn't have any legit reason for their favoritism. I just thought that maybe they just can't help hating me and loving my sister. When I was younger, I used to cry over my parents' favoritism a lot. I always did it when no one would listen or see me cry. My parents don't like it when I cry. Apparently I'm a nuisance when I cry, and again it makes them look like horrible people. Slowly I stopped crying about all of this completely. I knew I couldn't change anything, so I sort of just became numb to it. I would be lying if I said I didn't feel anything, but at least it hurt less. I had been repressing all those hurt feelings until the day I posted here. I will admit that I cried my eyes out that night. The feelings of hurt had been accumulating for a while, so I needed to let it out. Your kind comments and immense support absolutely shocked me. Shocked in a good way, of course. I may have become desensitized to the unfair treatment I have been receiving at home, but it's not like I don't feel anything at all. I have been thinking about how unfair my parents truly have been. Maybe you guys are right when you said that they are sort of abusive too. I never thought of it that way. I guess you can be right about that. Okay, so feelings and emotions aside, let me tell you why I updated my post. Last night, my parents sat me down and told me that I needed to call all my family members and tell them that I had intentionally canceled the party that my parents had arranged and then excluded them out of the one I hosted. They want me to make up a dumb story about how I was mad at them, so I decided to get back at them this way. After reading all of those comments on my post, it was easy for me to see that my parents were trying to make me the scapegoat again. They truly are toxic and manipulative people. I think for the first time in my life I rebelled and straight up said no to them. My parents didn't like it at all. They started to yell at me and tell me that I had 3 days to do what they said or they would be kicking me out. I'm really worried about that, guys. I'm 18 now, so my parents don't have to legally take care of me. Yes, they are housing and paying all expenses for my sister, who is jobless and just sits around doing nothing, but they will never extend that kind of support towards me. My restaurant earnings are not enough to keep me afloat, especially since I have used up a good chunk of my savings in arranging my birthday party. I'm really scared right now and don't know what to do. Mom and Dad are continuously harassing me to take the blame because they won't own up to their mistakes. I don't want to cover for them anymore, but I am also scared of being kicked out. Some of you have been telling me that I should expose my family, but I simply don't have the courage to do that. What do I do, guys? I know that I will have to make a tough decision as soon as possible, but I am beyond scared now. I may be able to support myself for a month or two after my parents kick me out, but after that, I will be in big trouble. I will probably have to drop out because there is no way I would be able to sustain myself while also finishing school. We live in a fairly big city, so it's not like a little money will go a long way here. I'm panicking a lot and would really appreciate some help. Update 2. Guys, I'm extremely touched by all the help that you guys have offered on this platform. I had DMs from multiple people who wanted to send me money so that I had something to rely on if my parents actually kicked me out. It looks like you guys really don't want me to lie and cover for my parents anymore. I heard you loud and clear when you kept telling me that I needed to tell someone in the extended family about what was going on. I sat on the decision for 2 days and collected some evidence of my parents pressuring me to lie for them. I also got them to confess to the fact that they didn't throw a party since they were broke after spending money on Riley. I didn't want to expose my parents without proper proof. I don't want anyone to think that I'm a liar, so I collected as much evidence as possible and then went to my grandparents' house to speak to them. For the record, the extended family I keep talking about is from my dad's side. Mom's family sort of lives far away, so we don't have much contact with them. My grandparents are actually very loving and kind, so they are nothing like my parents. Right now, I don't even know why I had been so scared of telling them the truth. My grandma actually has been pestering me to have lunch together, probably because she had plans to try and get the truth out of me. She didn't have to beat about the bush because I told her everything on my own. I told them about the favoritism and everything that happened with my parents. I don't think I missed many of the details. My grandparents were actually beyond horrified. I felt bad unloading on them like that because my grandma looked like she was about to have a heart attack. Thankfully, she's tougher than that. You can only imagine the amount of hugs and kisses I received from both Grandma and Grandpa after all this. They kept apologizing to me for not taking all the signs seriously and thinking that everything was fine at home. Apparently, the whole family had been seeing signs of me being neglected but never had concrete evidence of it. I always acted like a happy, playful kid around them, but they were skeptical of reading too much into the situation. I get their perspective. I have been the happiest when I'm around all my grandparents and cousins. I feel more protected and loved around my uncles and aunts than I do with my own parents. So I can understand why they had dismissed their concerns. Grandma said that they started to get worried shortly after I turned 17. They saw that I didn't have a good relationship with my sister and Riley ignored me whenever I tried to speak to her. They were also very surprised by the fact that my parents seemed to have no boundaries or limits when it came to Riley. Some of the extended family did find it odd that they had spent so much money on Riley's 20th birthday, but they didn't say anything since it was my parents' money. They got really angry and started connecting the dots after attending the birthday party that I threw for myself. After they went home that night, they had a little video conference among themselves. The next day, they decided to directly confront my parents. You know what happened next? My parents had told them exactly what they told me to tell them. But no one really believed their story. Some of my cousins offered to help by trying to make me take it, but I didn't take the bait. Grandma said that the extended family had been planning on ambushing our parents to demand answers. They still plan to do it though because my grandparents said that they need to get to this mess. I showed them the text and voice recordings too where my parents had been threatening to throw me out if I didn't do what they wanted. I can't tell you just how angry my grandparents were when they heard those voice recordings. Since this post has already become too long, I won't give you any more details of what happened next. Long story short, I'm staying with my grandparents right now. I talked to them just this morning and had been too scared to go back home. So when my grandparents told me that I could stay with them, I jumped at the chance. Today is Saturday, so I don't have school tomorrow. I don't have to be back at the house for anything today. I took time off work because I know things will get worse after this. I'm really afraid of what my future is going to look like because my grandparents plan to confront my parents tomorrow. Right now I am so mentally drained that I have opted to block every worry out and just enjoy lying in my grandma's guest room, which she has graciously opened to me. My parents and sister have been messaging me, but I haven't read a single text yet. I'm just going to let my grandparents handle it because that's what they want to do. I can't say for sure how things will turn out, but it probably won't be good. I will make an update for you guys because I know you will worry. Update 3. Hi guys, I'm so sorry I took a hiatus for so many weeks. Things were crazy in my life and I felt like I had been hit by a ton of bricks. I knew that things would get bad, but I really wasn't ready for everything that happened and everything I found out after my last update. I told you guys that my grandparents had planned to confront my parents the day after I confessed to them. Well, they decided to bring in some backup with them. I had no idea that my grandparents had called up all my aunts and uncles that very night and told them what was going on. My grandparents said that they deserved to know because they had been worried about me too. They didn't feel like anyone should be kept in the dark about this. My grandparents were so mad that they wanted to expose my parents to everyone. My aunts and uncles matched my grandparents' anger in every way. The next morning all of them dropped by and showered me with hugs, kisses, and gifts. Yes, they got me plenty of snacks to fuel my stress eating. They also brought their kids along so that they could keep me company and shield me from any problematic calls that my parents would make after they were done talking. I can't give you the exact details of what went down at my parents' place, but it wasn't pretty. Crap hit the fan and apparently there had been a major shouting match that got the cops involved. Everyone was so triggered that they kept shouting at my parents until the neighbors called the cops on a noise complaint. From what I have been told by one of my aunts, my parents did hate me. No, I'm not an affair child, but for a while Dad had suspected that I had been. Mom had an affair and Dad found out about it when she was pregnant. Mom didn't want a prenatal DNA test, so they had to wait until I was born to do it. Apparently the family went through hell during this time and my parents were on the brink of a divorce. My sister was also affected by all the drama and fighting that had been going on. After I was born I was tested and turned out to be my dad's daughter. Well, by then there had been just too much resentment and bad vibes associated with me. Mom and Dad mended their marriage and did everything possible to assure my sister that they loved her and the family wasn't going to be broken up. They started to associate me with a horrible time in their lives. I reminded Mom of how horrible her life had been while she was pregnant with me. My dad remembers my mother's betrayal when he sees me. He just couldn't get it out of his head that I could have been someone else's child. My sister just hates me because she likes to have our parents alter herself. My aunt couldn't really provide a straight reason for why my sister hated me. Just typing this out is making me feel weird. I remember being extremely numb when my aunt had gently told me the whole story about why my parents had always hated me. She works as a therapist, so everyone thought it would be better for her to break the news to me. I am glad they did because I really needed to know. Now that I know the reason behind my parents' behavior, I have no doubt that they are absolutely horrible people. They completely destroyed me mentally and neglected me because of their own issues. I was just an innocent child, but I was given the harshest punishment. From that very day, I have decided to go no contact with my parents. My parents did leave me some really apologetic texts telling me that they were sorry and felt guilty and wanted to make amends. You know, all that jazz, but I sort of know why they are suddenly repentant. I have been informed that my grandparents are disowning my parents and also my sister. They are now completely out of my grandparents' wills. The rest of the family has cut them off too. My parents are now scrambling to make things right because, well, they are alone and isolated now. They have been leaving me voicemails from various phone numbers, crying and begging me to talk to them. To be honest, I don't think I will ever talk to them again. Now that I'm living with my grandparents, I can tell that my mental health has improved drastically despite the horrible things I found out about my parents. I am less stressed and feel happier than before. My grandparents have also put me in therapy and everyone in the family is regularly checking on me. They even threw me a big birthday celebration to make up for the one I had on my actual birthday. It was really something else and a total surprise. They even invited my friends without me knowing. That day was truly the best day of my life after being surrounded by people who actually love me. I have finally understood that I have no business having my toxic parents in my life anymore. So as far as I'm concerned, they are not going to be in my life. Riley sent some nasty messages, of course, but I have her blocked too. She can go to hell for all I care. This is the final update I have for you guys. Since so many of you have been worried about, I thought I should wrap up my family drama by telling you everything I found out. Thank you so much for reaching out and leaving so many nice comments. I don't think I have anything left to say, so I will just say goodbye and leave this here.